That's the sound of the quietly brilliant Volkswagen Golf Mk4 Estate. A car that's not quite old enough to have any real retro appeal, and in the eyes of an insurance company is worth basically nothing. But I love this car, so much so that I've actually owned it twice. So come with me for a tour of this faithful old wagon. So back in 2019 I was looking for a car that was comfortable, cheap and could carry a mountain bike. This popped up on Facebook Marketplace and it had the all-important PD diesel engine, which I had some experience of and we'll talk about more at the end of this video. It presented well, but it was overdue a cam belt change and a few other jobs needed doing, so I'd quickly spent the value of the car again on preventative maintenance. Not exactly exemplary bangernomics then, particularly considering I went on to keep the car for just a year or so before selling it to a friend. He cleaned it up nicely and it became dependable doggo transport for him for the next 5 years. During those 5 years I had a lot of fun with a string of random and sometimes terrible cars, but I came back to the point of just needing something that was dependable, simple, reliable and decent. So when this came back up for sale, I snapped it up. It's been chugging me about in absolute comfort ever since, so let's take a closer look at a few things that make the Golf Mk4 good. Like these glass headlamps that look every bit as good as they did 21 years ago. The slightly battered but original wheel trims cover 15-inch wheels with a real balloon tyre. They're part of what makes this car so comfortable, and I'm glad it's comfortable, because one thing it's not is very dynamic. In fact, dynamically, this Mk4 Golf Estate is something of a pig. It bobs along and wallows about like you wouldn't believe, and I actually find it quite fun to drive quickly because it forces you to be smooth, but a driver's car this definitely is not. Just look at how much of the Estate design is taken up by windows. That's what I really like about it. The visibility is great and the size of it is also good. When you're manoeuvring this thing around, it barely feels larger than the Mk4 hatchback. I'll show you in the back in a bit, but there's no annoying load lip and a surprising amount of space back there, because that beam rear axle means you don't have intrusion from strut towers or anything. Now, one area where the Mk4 Golf did do very well was its interior. It was a real step up in terms of quality from the car that came before it. Let's take a closer look. Yeah, the interiors of these I think have held up so well. 4-spoke classic VAG wheel. This one's got this kind of grey velour. It's a bit of a strange interior, but I actually quite like it. All that glass, so great visibility as I was mentioning earlier, and as you can see, the classic saggy roof lining. Such a solid dashboard in these cars. They were known for that. There's a few soft touch plastics that have gone a bit manky, but generally the ergonomics are great. This one's even got steering wheel controls, and I've got cruise control here on this stalk. It's a shame I can't really show you one of my favourite features now, which is the blue dash illumination. Remember, it was blue and red dials on these, and it looks good to this day. 137,000 miles on this example, barely run in for a PD. I like the blue tint on the door mirrors of these, and just look at this quirky little third sun visor, or at least I think it's a sun visor. Silly thing. Don't think there's much more to add in here other than, oh yeah, I do have a center armrest, which I do sometimes put down, but it does generally get in the way of the handbrake otherwise. Now, I previously had a Mk4 hatch, but I much prefer the Estate, and here's why. Right, so let's get the protective cover out of the way, and we can take a proper look in the boot. So we've got these useful anchor points down here, look. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we also have a 12-volt socket, for which I need to put the cap back on. That's pretty useful for camping. In fact, this is a good car to camp in. The seats fold completely flat, so if you have to stay in it, it is good. And there's the false floor, so extra storage. Overall, it's a really practical thing. Last but not least, let's take a look at the business end of the Mk4. Right, pulled the handle, it's going to stick its little tongue out. There it is. Oh, not a one-handed job this. But, oh there we go, we've got a strut on the right hand side. Always appreciate that. And here's that legendary 1.9 TDI PD engine. This is the ATD variant, so just 100 horsepower and it's mated to a 5-speed gearbox. It's not quick, but it has plenty of torque, so it's good for effortless wafting, and you won't be changing gears too often. Better still, there's no DPF or AdBlue or anything like that, so just change the oil and keep on top of the cam belt, and this thing's good for intergalactic miles. Now, these Mk4 Estates still do come up for sale, but they're not all that common, and they're gaining something of a cult following. So my advice is, if you see a good one, make sure you move quickly.